Hey guys, this is RC the Revenant with Men of a Thousand Names, back with some more StarCraft 2. Um, in today's episode, I'm actually going to be showcasing a build I've been working on. It's still pretty rusty, but it basically is a TVP build that I'm coming up with, where I start off with 2 base aggression. Well, no, not 2 base aggression. I start off with 2 Rex aggression, uh, and push to try to do some damage at the front at about 6 to 8 minutes while expanding behind that. And then behind the attack, I also build up 2 factories and I start macroing up off of 2 bases. And I get a few factories worth of tanks at a time, and then have 1 factory either building uh, Hellbats or Widow Mines, depending on what my opponent's making. And I use those to defend my tanks, and then a Bioforce to deny expos. And so far, what I've been going for is I've been going for mech plating for the Hellbats and armor and attack upgrades for my Bioforce. And that's been working out pretty good. And of course, the whole point of this build is you want a mech build that's actually successful against Protoss, because it's still difficult. And here's my 8.5-minute attack. It doesn't go too well because he's able to reinforce it with more stalkers. But yeah, getting into a mech build as Terran against Protoss can be pretty difficult because all their units have shields. So if you don't get off like multiple shots with your tanks, then those Protoss units aren't going to take any permanent damage if they escape the battle. And tanks are actually pretty fragile. I mean, look at this. An Immortal does 50 damage to armored units. That's unupgraded. So it 4-shots a tank, and then once it gets more upgrades, it'll 3-shot a tank, while taking only 10 damage a hit from a siege tank. So that's pretty formidable. And if you get blink with that, then it can be pretty devastating. Here at Protoss is just kind of macroing himself up on 3 bases. He actually surprisingly took this base quite early as a hidden, so that's pretty interesting. I just took these 3 bases in a line, with the idea being that if I can just control this area of land right here, then I have 3 safe bases, except for late game against drops. Then I would need to cover this up with a couple turrets. So here I am, +2 armor on the way, and concussive shells, building up a hefty Marine Marauder and Hellbat force, and adding on some tanks now. So this is what I'll build up 2 or 3 factories that will be producing tanks, and then have another one be just devoted to Widow Mines or Hellbats. And there's actually several points in this game in which I switch between the two. And here I am doing some Widow Mine harass. It's kind of unfortunate. This one actually just happened to go off on a Archon. For any of you Protoss players that are wondering about how to deal with the Widow Mine, Archons are an excellent way to clear mines. Just look at that. That took like no damage. But you definitely want to keep your Zealots, your Stalkers, and your Immortals away. You could even use Colossi to clear mines, like to tank the damage for mines. I wouldn't recommend it though. But if you have no detection yet, then that's definitely preferable. Here is a, let's see, where's the, yeah, units lost. So I've lost a lot more units, but his units are more expensive because he's Protoss. So this went okay for me. I think he's reinforcing faster. Well, not really at the moment, but he's giving me some trouble. I did lose a lot in this attack, so yeah, I'm not. Well, I'm not really reinforcing. I'm still macroing up my base, but I'm not rallying troops over yet. And he is taking another hidden base. I pretty much stay 3 base off this entire game. I do expand eventually, but I don't really saturate that base. Here's nice. He tried to take another base, and I shut it down with a Widow Mine. Um, One thing that would be interesting to see players do is if they see a Widow Mine blocking their base from going up, they could actually attack the rock tower, and when it falls down, the rock tower will do damage to the Widow Mine, which will kill it, and then you can just kill the rock tower again. And that way, you don't need to have invested in detection, and you don't need anything to take the damage from the Widow Mine. So it's interesting. Oh, too bad I didn't grab more of those units. Interesting thing now. The Widow Mine now does 35 extra damage to shields, so basically 35 extra damage to Protoss, unless they already have all their shields depleted. So that basically means that the Widow Mine can now kill Stalkers and Zealots in one shot again, which is excellent in my opinion, because Zealots and Stalkers are a huge enemy to Mech. So being able to have a really like 2 good Mech AoE options, well, really 3 now against Zealots is really good. Chargeless in the late game are really hard to deal with, especially drops. And he was looking like he was going to prepare for a drop earlier, but he actually changed his mind when he saw my Widow Mine. So here I am, just trying to make a more of a soft contain. I just really don't want anything coming down the ramp. So yeah, the Stalkers can blink out of the way, and the Zealots can be warped down here, but all the other production, like the robotics facilities, are up here. So that means they have to go through my tank fire if they want to join the rest of the army. So that was kind of my thought process. I really wish I could have done more to deny this base right here. And let's see, the units lost. Well, in the units tab, we see I have a substantial amount of tanks, and we're both very much still hurting a lot from that giant engagement. We both lost a lot of troops. And some of these tanks are being pretty cost effective, like 10 kills here. But I've also lost a lot of tanks, and he's been kind of annoying, like warping stalkers down to the low ground. And at times I don't really have enough of a bioforce. I really could be macroing a lot more at home. You can see I'm just about to hit 10,000, so I could have a lot more production up. But when I'm positioning and in these battles, I tend to let go of that a lot and just get distracted. Let's see, in the production tab, yeah, see, I'm not even making anything right now. Just getting my upgrades. And as you can see, the Protoss' supply is beginning to plummet. Especially after I took out this base, it's going to lose a lot of its income. Although it does have these. And I think I did spot this one. Let's see. Okay, I have seen these. I just haven't really done anything about them yet. And I really need to get some more production up. Okay, here I am adding a bunch of factories out, just kind of in the middle of the map to boost my tank production. So I now have enough tanks in bio that I can deal with zealots real easily. And Protoss doesn't really have a good way to break me now. I did rebuild this base, but hasn't saturated it yet. And I should have more tanks coming soon, once these tech labs finish up. Fortunately, I lost that Widow Mine in an attempt to block the ramp. Fortunately, the Protoss is having a lot of miss rallies. Well, the AI is a little confused at this moment because it's trying to reach its base, but it's having difficulty doing that because of the tanks. So it doesn't really know what to do. I mean, it could have been warping down here. I don't know why it wasn't. I mean, that could have been really annoying. I mean, if he'd expanded over here, they could have put a pylon here and could have attacked from 3 different fronts, which would have been quite hard to deal with. But now it's kind of too late because he doesn't have enough income. And here I am. This is kind of where I finally break him, and I'm able to get some Marines on the inside. I was going for the pylons to, 1, block some of its supply, and 2, to shut down some of the tech. I don't really accomplish that, but I did kill a lot of units, and here I just kind of get ballsy and push through with my tanks. And basically the rest of it is me being really mean with tanks. It's kind of nice once you have enough tanks that you can just one-shot all Protoss units. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut it here because, well, rendering videos takes a long time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been RC the Revenant with Men of 1,000 Names, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.